and I know you do a ton of work with, and you've talked a lot as well about your eating disorders of the past and how you've dealt with that and how you're helping people. Maybe if you can just give like a brief outline to the audience with what kind of work you're doing along those lines.
For sure. I struggled with body image issues kind of my whole life, but especially becoming a female athlete, it was, magnified. And speaking of like the male-female thing and also just any people in general, I do think this is another issue where even more so men are out of the conversation. And I actually connected with a football player from SC who I knew during my time there. I won't name this person or give any details, but talked to me about some of the body image issues he faced. And I was just blown away because even you look at guys and you're like, oh, they're not thinking about it. But I had friends who played, like I had a friend who played at Washington, and he used to have have to eat however many burritos to keep on weight.
To gain weight.
Yes.
That's me.
Yeah, and it's tough. It like messes with your head. You hate burritos?
No. Burritos are actually pretty good.
But
just
okay,
the eating wise.
So on that track, I'm curious with how you work between this balance of like, for my sport, I need to be this kind of like weight or size or strength, and okay, this is too much. I'm dealing with these issues mentally because of it. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I'm an offensive lineman and I weigh 200 pounds, that's not gonna work, right?
Yeah.
For myself at quarterback, the idea is to gain enough weight such that I can sustain like a hit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's one that is really relevant in sports. And just to remind everyone, I'm speaking from experience, not an expert, but from my experience and the conversations I've had and the experts I have spoken with, there are certain sports, like take crew, for example, where if you're a coxswain, like you do have to be under a certain amount of weight. There are sports, wrestling, you have to be in a weight class. And I think if that's your sport, then let's pursue that with a professional who can help us, at the school, or a nutritionist, dietitian, who can help you get to that goal in a way that doesn't ruin your mental health. The right hook on that though is I could never do a sport like that. It would mess me up too bad. I could never be a coxswain. I could never have weekly weigh-ins. I would have to walk away from that sport. And that sucks. And that's tough. I would ask people though, like if you're really like withering away mentally, emotionally, and it's not healthy for you, maybe that isn't the dream anymore. Maybe that's not what's best for you. And that hurts. And I don't know everyone's situation, but I would say, there's the obvious is, okay, let's pursue it in a way that is healthy and monitored and with the expertise of a professional. And hey, like if this is giving me hell every day of my life, maybe I shouldn't keep playing this sport because my mental health needs to come first. Similar to Naomi, who like put her mental health first in that situation. But it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. Is that something that happens in volleyball, the same with football?
Fortunately, no. Fortunately, we don't. I mean, at least on my team, we didn't have to get weighed in. There's not really a body type. I mean, you obviously want to be tall and you want to jump high.
Yeah.
But all the bodies were different, even in the same positions. I have, of course, encountered teams where like they are being weighed in. Coaches want their players to look a certain way. That's just like toxic.
Yeah.
So it depends. But in general, the sport of volleyball, I'd say height and hops are the two criteria.
Yeah.
You got hops?
No.
Max does though.
Does he?
Does he? He's a hooper.
You heard his NBA comparison.
Markieff Morris.
Come on, bro.
Oh,
No, I played libero, so I was just defense.
Oh,
Glued to the
yeah,
floor.
so you're glued to the floor.
Oh, okay.
And Max can jump.
Yeah.
Max can jump.
That's
And he
interesting.
That was so
Anything
crazy.
shit.
I think I was talking to my mom or something about this last week about you coming on. I was like, can you even imagine if I walked into the weight room with my soccer girls and the trainer came and pinched my hip? Like, can you even imagine? Like, I can't. Like, if like the local, we had fat camp for the men's lacrosse team at Harvard. They like. If,
Oh yeah, they did.
that was brutal. It's like they had to have a
Really?
certain
They low-key
percentage of
loved
body.
it though.
Well, they were
Why?
told they had to have a certain percentage of body weight, like between this range, and like if they didn't, or like, they'd have to keep doing.
Was it
fitness.
body fat percentage?
Yeah,
I think
body
it was
fat.
I think
body
it might
fat
have been body fat
percentage.
percentage.
Yeah, and so it was just blew my mind. I think we've talked about it in the past with like teammates. I was like, can you even imagine
Gosh,
if a
that's
coach came and pinched my
horrible.
hip or pinched my like thigh or what? I'd be like, I'm stammered because I don't even know what I would do.
That's
'cause-
horrible. And like
but
people
the
can't,
standard is so different like between
yeah.
guys and girls. I feel like in that respect.
and you can't spot weight loss. Like you can't be like, oh, I have an extra amount of fat on my outer thigh. Like, how do I get that to go away? Like that doesn't work. But and then it's like, gosh, I can come back for a whole episode on diet culture. I'm just kidding. But it's just it's too much. It's too much to dive. It's a lot to dive into. But like, yeah, that's unrealistic.
I actually had a question following that. Is like, how do you think we should look at changing like the narrative around, I guess, body image and culture with like men versus women or like male versus female sports? Because I know that like because we don't have that test sometimes, like because we didn't have like those fat pinch tests or however you measure that for the girls, it was like, you know, people would see things or like people would hint at things. They're like, oh, maybe she looks a little unhealthy or she, you know, looks or whatever. And like people would be talking about it rather than addressing these issues. Whereas like guys just go head on their sports. They're like, oh, okay, you're in a different, you know, weight class. Or like you need to go up, you need to go down. They're more direct. Like, how do you think like we can have a better narrative of like bridging those gaps between those drastic changes, I guess, between the two?
I would just try to get away from how you look being the determinant of how you play, because so often it's just not the case. I mean, how often do you see someone and you're like, oh, like I could take you, and then they school you? You know, it's like,
Not
I just
often.
think you can't look at someone and assume how. Justice, I can tell if Justice hates me or really likes me.
Honestly, not often. I'm thinking pickup basketball. Like honestly, like dude
Body.
looks like I was like I got you, bro. No, you keep going, Nick. I keep going. I'm
Just
just
totally
kidding.
undermine your point.
I know.
No,
I'm just kidding.
that was
I'm just
great.
kidding.
That's
I'm
what I'm
just
saying. Is like you can't. I don't think you should ever look at someone and assume their health. Just bottom line. That's my thought. And I hope that we don't do that. I hope coaches. That's the thing is some people will be like, oh, I was first in my fitness test, but my coach told me to lose weight. It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Like you beat your entire team, but they just said you don't look the part. I mean, that's where it's like, you know, outdated ways of boxing the ideal body type, quote unquote.
Well, what's the quarterback for the Patriots?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen Mac Jones?
Mm-mm.
Like, dude looks like.
Could you pull up a photo? Okay.
Yeah, he looks like he just like got out the
So-
frat house at Ole Miss and just walked onto the field.
Well, now you're body shaming him.
I'm sorry. Like he just killed a bunch of beers or something. I don't know. But the dude, like you wouldn't
Go-
think, but like
yeah, go-
it goes back to your point. It's like that your body like image. And I think sometimes like, especially like when you're getting scouted in high school, like coaches are looking like, oh, that guy, I like the way his body's built. Right. And so like that often plays into the recruiting process.
Go Mac Jones locker room. It'll come up.
Yeah, there's like a
Wait, I feel bad. I don't want to look at this dude's body and like make comments.
Well,
about
no.
It
goes
speaks
to
to
your
your
point. Yeah.
where like guys who don't
He's
look
really
necessarily
good
the
and-
part.
yeah.
He's a really good
Oh,
football
he's
player.
freaking
He
great.
went 15th overall to the New England Patriots. Okay.
Well, I love that for him in the male body image community.